our original blueprint and trying to remember that without the distractions of the mind, the distractions of the world, is going to take more than just talking about. So the purpose of life is to live, not mechanically, not like a robot going through our days, but organically, with the natural flow of all of the elements of nature around us. And the Lemurians today are going to be talking about what that looks like. Connecting to elements doesn't need to be a mind process, but the mind does have a process for invoking grace. This is a class about grace. So many of you are asking where I get some of these teachings from, and it's been a lifelong journey. And I noticed throughout a lot of my teachings as well and learnings in both Hinduism and Buddhism and New Age technologies, that the Lemurians were the closest to help us remember the soul. And I noticed similarities in Buddhist teachings, in yoga teachings, Eastern yoga teachings, in Western yoga teachings, in spiritual New Age teachings, everywhere. And I began to see that the commonality is grace. The commonality is opening the soul and sort of corralling the mind in a unique way. So some of you will notice that this teaching has some ancient New Age technology, alchemy technology with elements. Buddhists will notice that it has some Buddhism tenets. Indians will notice that it has some subculture in that as well. And I believe that we all derived our belief systems and our religions and spiritual backgrounds from our ancient memories of Lemuria. So I hope that answers the question about where a lot of this comes from. To live longing for purpose is what I've noticed about why most people don't have a general memory of the soul's gifts and technologies, is because you're striving for purpose, longing for it. And the world has taught you that you have to think about it and that you have to get it from career, status, power, control, so many other mechanisms that fall into more of a robotic lifestyle. But again, according to the Lemurians, we're not here to live mechanically, but rather organically. And to live longing for life purpose is the beginning of what we call our soul's offerings. We begin to crave for our offerings that the soul has. It's trying to direct us, but we are craving something else. It's the best way I can put it. We're craving for the soul's technologies and graces and gifts. But Earth and its cultures and subcultures and societies have taught us to crave things that are more sensory. And we pull that into spirituality as well, and then call that spirituality. We pull that into our spiritual practices and call that nirvana. We call that enlightenment. We call that spiritual awakening. And we think that that is what we should be craving. And craving that can become very lonely as well. That can only lead us so far. And that's what ancient Lemuria knew instinctively and intrinsically. So to live with no longing, the only longing we should have is the longing for cosmic source itself to be remembered through our human and galactic nature. That's it. That's the only true longing, is the craving for the graces that the soul will bring to us. That's what we should crave, but not so much that it becomes a craving that the mind calls pleasure. And we'll get to that in a moment, because we could spend so much time just saying, why can't you just be peaceful? Right? Why can't you just be happy? Why can't you just be? And then the mind takes over. So it is a unique balance. Lemurians knew that balance. They knew that elemental connection, earth, air, water, fire, what helped them understand the nature of the soul naturally as they organically stepped into nature, put their feet on the earth, blessed the water and sang to it. Don't worry, we'll get there in a minute in class. Today's blessing for you was a blessing of all of the elements. So you can go back and listen to it and enjoy it. But you can learn to do this on your own, to connect to the elements that created you, right? All of the elements of creation that create sort of the substance in everything that makes up the body and the mind, and then the cosmic nature of the soul. Earth's elements can help you with that. So that's a part of this class. Lemurians also knew that their soul would help them uncover their innate gifts. That's why we call this class Gifts of Lemuria. They knew that their gifts were a part of their true nature, not necessarily something that they do or offer, but that their gifts simply flow from them and become an offering. And then these gifts, they may become an offering when necessary, but there was no real external pressure from society to survive. No pressure for power, no pressure for control, no pressure for safety. And this means that their gifts were not displaced, their gifts were not misunderstood. You see this commonly in spiritual practice. There are so many teachings out there that teach you sort of top down to open up the senses, to open up and derive pleasure only when you can see something that you feel is different than you or other than you. And that becomes a different craving in and of itself that initially feels good, but will leave us unsatiated at a deeper level later. In order to uncover your soul's gifts, it would be wise to become aware that knowing is not something that can occur in advance. We can't just be told what our gifts are or just have them come first to direct us. It's the soul that uncovers the gifts, and then the gifts flow typically without our direction and sometimes without our awareness, at least at first. Wisdom is uncovered during that journey of the soul's remembrance, but not in advance. That's something that's going to be a little bit difficult for most people to get their heads around in this class. Nature itself doesn't know. If you want to think even about all of the other animals that are no different or better than us, and all of the insects upon this being, this earth that trod the soil with us, they don't know a lot in advance from their minds. They have a deep instinctual nature of what to do. Like the grasshopper isn't walking around preparing for things because it knows something. It prepares for things because something deep inside says winter is coming. Ants are the same way. When animals mate the way that they mate, they come into season. They're not like humans who just have sex for pleasure all the time. I'm not indicating that there's anything wrong with that, but there is a unique physiological, natural, and spiritual reason why the insects and animals of our lands do things, why they eat, when they eat, why they have sex, why they reproduce, why they sing or do their calls. And birds don't sing just because it's pretty or because it feels good or makes them feel good. They have something deeper that isn't derived from pleasure that says, I'm a bird and I sing. Your soul has something very, very similar. So if nature itself doesn't know from the mind in advance, it just flows with these intrinsic graces that help them into their wisdom, help every being of nature works with their soul in a way that's unknown to them and beyond human or animal knowing. It's beyond that. Okay. So let's talk about the gifts, the original soul's gifts that everyone was born with. Every one of us here today explored Lemuria uniquely with these unique gifts. And they're also graces, but they're slightly different than the way that we teach them. And each of them are slightly different than the way that I've shared them with you before. So we're going to talk about the original graces of this planet. Hold on, let me plug in. There we go. All right, are you writing down? So we have 11 of them. Zeal. Zeal. How often do you hear these words? A zealous person works with the element of fire and air. They know the throat chakra energy of being able to speak clearly, directly, right? Well, the Bible got it from somewhere, but that wasn't the first group of beings who channeled that information. The Essenes knew it prior, and the Lemurians knew it well in advance, along with the ancient Sumerians, and many other religions and spiritual groups knew this before it was in the Bible. Zeal. To be zealous means to operate with the element of fire, to be clear, directive, and full of life and energy. We can always tell like the truly zealous person because most people will judge them as being overly zealous. And they'll say, wow, they have so much energy. It's like they never stop. Zeal. When we have that unique gift of the soul, it gives us an energy that is endless.